So the first question revolved around supplementation, and I think the question was basically like general supplementation recommendations. And we covered this in a really good workshop that we have called Strategic Supplementation. I'm going to go through the basics real quick, but I think it's really useful to understand that supplementation in the context of eating real food is extremely beneficial and synergistic. But supplementation in the context of not doing the right thing is probably not going to do a whole lot for you. So I always like to think about extremes and spectrums. And if I have someone that's on one end of the spectrum, which is just eating processed food and has no clue about the information that we know about, and then is trying to do this supplementation protocol, I just don't see the body being in a state of being able to utilize those nutrients, right? The body doesn't digest well, isn't efficient at using nutrients because it's in toxic overload, nutritional deficiency, digestive dysfunction, and all those different things. So it helps to make the priority real food first. And then, of course, within real food, according to our guidelines, focusing on our concept of self-sufficiency, nurturing space in between meals, being strategic with carb consumption, and doing all those things, and noticing some beneficial changes from that, energy levels increasing, your personal symptoms clearing up, and then, of course, like body composition shifts and stuff like that. Like just knowing that you're in a good direction with that, I think, is the first step. Before getting too caught up in supplements. And I know I get it, like we're always looking for, the silver bullets and the things that are gonna make us feel good. But I can tell you right now, I don't know of any supplement that I've taken that I have just noticed something immediate from. Nutritional sufficiency takes time, and a lot of these supplements are nutritional based. And so it's gonna take some time to notice it. It's gonna take some consistency. But I think the prerequisite has to be being close to 100% real food, as close as you can, and then nurturing our concept of self-sufficiency. And if you're dialed in with that, or relatively dialed in with that, then it's a really good idea to start looking at some strategic supplementation. So this is some recommendations for everyone. I would also call this like a healing and recovery protocol. You may get some blood work and determine some personal deficiencies that you have that may be worth looking into, and blood work can be kind of transient. So, but if you have any questions on that, like I use blood work to interpret like nutritional deficiencies a lot, but let's just cover the basics here, right? So number one, I would say a priority needs to be a really good cod liver oil, a virgin cod liver oil. And the reason that we want that in the diet is because most of us probably are not eating a lot of the kind of fish that give us EPA and DHA, which are both the precursors to the anti-inflammatory pathways. These are the omega-3 fatty acids, or a couple of the omega-3 fatty acids, and this is what gets a lot of mainstream press. So extremely anti-inflammatory and beneficial, and again, most of us are probably not eating enough foods that contain that, and so supplementing with cod liver oil is awesome because it not only has EPA and DHA, but if you get a good quality brand, you're going to see high levels of vitamin A and vitamin D and some other cofactors in there. So it's actually really like a superfood. I think some of us may have had, grandparents or great-grandparents or parents that remember having to take cod liver oil. It was very immune boosting. They used to use it in the World Wars to supplement the soldiers to boost their immunity. So it's a really, really powerful thing. All right. So virgin cod liver oil, the two brands I recommend are Rosita, and then I did a post not too long ago about Droppy, which is, I mean, seriously, within a month of taking that, my cracked heels went from like way better to just like almost perfect feet. Like I couldn't even believe it. So those are two brands that I highly recommend, Rosita and Droppy. The next thing, just a no-brainer for every single human being on the planet, and that would be collagen peptides. And by the way, on the cod liver oil, I would say just follow the dosing recommendations on the bottle, and you could even go in excess of that a little bit. So if it says like on the Droppy it's 4, I take 6 per day versus 4. And take that with a meal because it's fat-soluble nutrients, so it needs the presence of digestion and fats to be absorbed properly, so you want to take it with a meal. Collagen peptides, like a no-brainer. Collagen is, so if we're trying to mimic eating an animal nose to tail, which is what's most beneficial for us because we are an animal nose to tail, and if I'm trying to support everything inside this body, this is a lot more than just muscle. So this is a lot of connective tissue and tendons and ligaments and joints and cartilage. And bones. And so collagen makes up a matrix that is a big part of all that stuff. And I think it's estimated collagen makes up 33 to 40% of all the protein in the body. And the issue is that most of us are not getting collagen through the meat that we're eating, because most of us are eating ground beef and chicken breast and maybe a little bit of ground pork and stuff like that, or bacon, whatever. But we're not eating the things that contain collagen. Bone stock is beneficial for sure, but the amount of collagen in bone stock is going to depend on the type of bones that you use, and whether you have a lot of cartilage and connective tissue and tendons on those bones, and that's kind of hit or miss. So supplementing with collagen, I feel like you can't get too much of it. You can't overdose on it. Like the recommendation from Great Lakes little collagen bottle is like 2 tablespoons per serving. And so I'm getting 6, 8, 10 of those per day. So I have it with my bone stock. I have it with my meal at night. Collagen can support sleep, so it's really good to take a couple scoops before bed. And again, if we're trying to eat animals nose to tail and facilitate this amazing body, then we want to take collagen in excess. Like I'd say, get as much of it in as you can. All right. Another kind of no-brainer, something easy to experiment with, is going to be magnesium. Most people are deficient in magnesium. I think there's an argument in the holistic realm that if you're eating real food, you shouldn't need too much magnesium. But the reality is that a lot of the foods that we eat are not as nutrient replete as the foods that we used to have access to before modernization of our food supply, including real food. So most people benefit from supplementing with 300 to 600 milligrams of magnesium, and I love the products that we sell in here. We have 2 that have been received really well. One of them is MGzyme. It's a pill format, and then their newest one from Biotics is ActiMag Plus, and it's super solid. And you can take magnesium up to a bowel tolerance. And then when you notice your stool is getting loose because of that one thing that you changed, that's probably the max that you want to go to, and maybe back off of that a little bit. So magnesium is I would consider it like a synergistic activator with all the different minerals that you consume on a daily basis. And again, if we're deficient in that, we're going to see problems with sleep and cramping, maybe some healing and recovery, because this is part of our little healing and recovery protocol. All right. I think most people would probably benefit from taking some vitamin C. And a good quality vitamin C. We used to recommend the vitamin C foundation powder, and it's a really good product. It's China-free, certified non-GMO. But the powder is something that I think a lot of people didn't like. Some people like putting it in the water, some people didn't. I love Biotics' new BioC Plus because it is 500 milligrams of vitamin C combined with all the different cofactors and bioflavonoids to help with absorption. And I think most people would benefit from taking 500 milligrams to 2 grams of vitamin C per day as a little kind of catch-all, right? Just in case we're not getting a lot of that from the foods that we're eating, especially those of us that have kind of gravitated towards eating a lot of meats, right? And then vitamin K2, if you've been through any of our progressions where we talk about Dr. Weston A. Price, he talks about the value of K2. Actually, they called it Activator X, and so we're pretty confident it's vitamin K2. And K2 just seems to be this orchestrator of other nutrients and tells the body what to do with certain minerals. And so I think taking it in the context of eating real food is going to help with all kinds of different things. I mean, just utilizing the different nutrients that you're consuming, we start to see a lot of improvements in cardiovascular risk because it helps deposit calcium in the right places inside the body. So, and again, that's a no-brainer. You can't overdose on that. Taking 1 capsule a day of a really good quality one. And I like one that has both MK4 and MK7 in it. So it's this kind of comprehensive blend of it. So I'll have some links and stuff for these things later. And then I think everyone would benefit from taking D3. Maybe 2,500 IUs would be a good starting place for most people. I think most people are deficient. They're not getting a lot of sun. Even if you are getting a lot of sun, I think 2,500 IUs is going to be a safe dosage. And when you combine all those things together, like the cod liver oil, the virgin cod liver oil, a good quality one, the collagen, the magnesium, the vitamin C, which is also synergistic with collagen and magnesium in creating tissues, and then K2 because it's an orchestrator, and then D3 because it's another fat-soluble nutrient. You combine all that stuff together, and it is a solid healing and recovery protocol, and it's also foundational for anyone eating real food. And again, I just want to make the prerequisite argument that we need to be close to 100% real food as much as possible and nurturing self-sufficiency before this becomes beneficial. And then to see the benefits of this, we have to be consistent with it. So if I go out and I get all these supplements and I take it for one evening, a week, and then I forget to take it again until the next week, and I'm haphazard with it, I'm not going to see anything happen from that. So of course, who's knocking on my door? So of course, what's up? Seriously? So I'm not going to see anything happen from that. So what I want is nutritional sufficiency over time. And so for those supplements to work, I need to be consistent with it for a solid 3 to 4 weeks, and then I'll start to notice some benefits. And I'm pretty convinced that, I don't have a lot of the issues that I used to have with my calves and some other body parts. And it's rare that I have anything that feels like an injury now. And I'm convinced that it's because of this stuff here. So, all right. So next question.